People rely on reading other people's body language so much, and body language is just as important when dealing with dogs, if not more important than it is with humans, because as humans we can communicate with our words and dogs very obviously cannot. So knowing how to read their body language when they're uncomfortable, when they need a photo shoot break, is going to be so important for your session. It's actually going to be the whole reason behind having a successful photo shoot and a successful dog photography business. Because if you get a dog in there and he's uncomfortable and he's scared, then the owner's going to be stressed. The situation is not going to be a fun experience. It's just going to be a chore. Plus, all of your photos are just gonna be terrible. Sorry, but it's true. The dog will be very visibly uncomfortable and scared, and it's not going to be the happy, upbeat, playful memories that the client is paying you for. So why am I making this video? Well, it's going to be really useful for you in any real life situation of just meeting a dog, getting your own dog, being able to pet all the cute fluffers on the street. But like I said, it is going to make your photo shoots just stand out amongst every other photographer out there, because you are not just taking pictures of dogs, you are giving somebody an experience of a dog photo shoot. When people come to see me, and this is not a brag, this is just facts, it's fun. We all have a ton of fun. The dog is jumping around, playing. We take the time to ease in, because it's all about knowing when to take a break and when to continue. And really the only way that you're gonna be able to know that is if you learn how to speak dog. So let's cue that intro and we will dive right into the basic dog body language and how to speak dog so that your photo shoots can be a 100% success every single time. Cue that intro. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, I'm Keegan, the owner of FLOOFY Studios. If you have no idea what that is, make sure you go check us out on Instagram at FLOOFY Studios for your daily dose of heckin' cute doggos. Also, before we dive into all this juicy details on speaking dog, before I teach you this whole new language, which it is essentially, make sure you hit that like button as well as subscribe so you can keep up on all of our new videos that I'm posting on a weekly basis every Thursday. So, learning how to speak the language of dog is going to make sure every single one of your clients loves you. And that is really the basis behind having a successful photo shoot. A good bond with your subject. And that's for human photography, dog photography, whatever it may be. And getting your subject to love you is all about making a great first impression. I go into this in a lot of detail in last week's video on how I start every photo shoot, so if you haven't watched that already, make sure you go check it out. So let's get into the negative body language first, because nobody likes to think about a sad dog or an anxious dog, but to be quite honest, a lot of dogs get anxious quite easily. So let's dive into the different body language that your subject could possibly show you to show that he's feeling a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit anxious, and it's time to take a break. The first is obsessively licking at their lips. So, I don't mean I just gave them a full spoon of peanut butter and they're licking away like crazy. No, this is sitting there like licking their lips, kind of panting a little bit, and that usually means they're uncomfortable. Keep an eye out though, because it could also just mean that they're thirsty. Take everything that I'm saying with a grain of rice, because every situation is different and every dog is different. So it doesn't mean that just because your dog is licking their lips that they're uncomfortable. It could mean a multitude of things. But if this is paired with other signs or signals, then maybe it's time to take a break. The next is the paw up. The paw up essentially means they are getting ready to make a break for it. This is their kind of reaction to fight or flight. And if their paw is up, it usually means that they're waiting for their chance to make that flight. However, don't mistake this with other specific pointer type breeds or hunting breeds, because sometimes a lot of dogs will lift their paw up if they have that in their genetics of hunting, or like the pointer breeds, German short-haired pointer, they will lift their paw up to point looking at something, hunting something, etc. The breeds that you want to look out for the most with this are the smaller ones, like Chihuahua, for example. If their paw's up, they're looking uncomfortable, give them some space, let them run away, let them know that they have that option to escape and that they're not trapped whatsoever. If you take away one thing from this video, it is that you should never force a dog into something that they're uncomfortable with. This will not make for a successful photo shoot whatsoever. Heavy panting. Heavy panting obviously can mean that your dog just had a really big play or it's a hot day outside, but if none of these things are true, then it could also mean that they're feeling anxious or uncomfortable and it's also time to take a break. You're probably gonna hear me say that statement a lot, but that's what it comes down to. If the dog is visibly uncomfortable, it's trying to show you signs that he's not down for what you're doing. Give him a break. Next, turning away. That shows I'm uncomfortable. It is the most polite way to say I don't want to take part in what you're doing right now. So a lot of dogs, if something in front of them is making them uncomfortable or overwhelmed or they just don't like it, they will just put their attention onto something else that's more pleasant to them. Whether it be their mom that's standing off to the side, a toy, if you're outside it could be a squirrel or a tree or a cloud for that matter, they'll just look away and hope that whatever you're doing to them stops. If your dog has their ears pinned all the way back, this is another sign of that they're feeling quite uncomfortable. Some dogs are just kind of weird. They'll just throw their ears back for no reason. But like I said earlier, pay attention to the fine details and you'll be able to tell if it's an uncomfortable signal or they just have weird ears. The ears back is a really clear sign that they're feeling uncomfortable because of the fact that some dogs, when their ears are pinned all the way back, if you're trying to take a photo of them, you can't even see their ears at all. And quite honestly, it's not gonna make for a cute photo. Yawning is another one. Yawning is actually something that I've learned just recently is a sign of a dog being uncomfortable. And apparently it is how dogs often try to calm themselves down. People really love to humanize different dog traits. And by this I mean, with the dog yawn, they'll be like, oh, he's tired, oh, he needs a nap, he has such a big play. Like, not necessarily. A yawn could also mean a dog is just so overwhelmed with excitement, anxiety, either or, that it is their natural calming mechanism to kind of, how I see it is like regulate their heartbeat, regulate their body, and kind of do a mind reset. And lastly, the most obvious one that people very well know is the tail tucked between their legs. This is an obvious sign that they are usually quite frightened and they definitely need a break. But like I said, not everything is cut and dry, so it's not like you're going to see, you know, a dog has his ears pinned back, you even have to stop the photo shoot. Pay attention to the fine details, pay attention to the different negative body language signs that they're showing you, because a lot of the times they'll be paired together and it's not just one thing. Okay, enough with that. Let's talk about when to continue on with a photo shoot. Because if you know dogs, you know that sometimes they need a little push in the right direction. And I want to restate very clearly, never force a dog to do anything they are uncomfortable with. This will not work out in your favor. It will not get them to do what you want them to do. They will most likely just be defiant, stop listening to you whatsoever. You've now made a bad first impression on them. They don't like you, they don't want to listen, they don't want your treats. Session is done. That being said, everything can be made into a training session. So what I do with the dogs that I know need a little bit of help, I try to challenge them in a really positive way. So I will sprinkle some treats on the backdrop and let them go over on their own. Once they do, I positive reinforce the frick out of them. I am their cheerleader. I am just telling them how great of a job they did, because each time they do something that they might slightly be uncomfortable with, but were not forced, they chose to do it on their own, but you tell them how great of a job they did, they are going to build their confidence more and more in that situation. And most likely, most of the dogs just end up doing what you want them to do because they feel confident in doing so. They're not scared anymore and they trust you. So some very obvious signs of when to continue if the dog is actively interested in you, what you have. Usually they're highly treat motivated or toy motivated, and this is a good sign signal to just continue on with the photo shoot because they want to. This is a game for them. They're getting treats, they're having fun. This is a good time. And then there's those other little tricky devils who are just not scared, not nervous or anxious, but they're not actively interested in you either. They are what we call the little stubborn guys. So those you just need to be really patient with. Like I said, challenge them a little bit, get them interested, see what motivates them, because every dog is different. It's either going to be treats, toys, their owner, usually a lot of positive reinforcement, but every dog has something that motivates them for the most part, or at least the ones that I've met. So you just have to figure it out, work with them on it, and go from there. Patience is key though. I'll say that over and over and over again. Be patient with your subject. Never force a dog. Pay attention to the fine details and have fun. Well guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well as subscribe. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon there so that you get a notification for when our next video is up. Because I am jam-packing tons of content on dog photography, entrepreneurship of a dog photographer, and how to run your dog's Instagram. So that is pretty much it of me rambling on today. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.